Hello my dear students. In previous class we have discussed the Gauss law of electrostatics. Now today we have to discuss the applications of Gauss law. That means by using Gauss law we have to calculate the electric field intensity, some distribution of charges. Then let's go how to use the Gauss law. Before using Gauss law, first to remember the principle of Gauss law of electrostatics. The Gauss law of electrostatics states that if some charges will be enclosed by an imaginary surface, then the closed surface integral of electric field intensity over this imaginary closed surface is equal to 1 by epsilon 0 times the total amount of charge present inside that Gaussian surface or imaginary surface. And the steps we have to follow when we calculate the electric field intensity: first to take the distribution of charges that given in the problem, then you choose the point where we have to calculate the intensity, then we have to choose a Gaussian surface that should touch this point where we have to calculate the electric field intensity. Then first application is we have to calculate the electric field intensity due to infinite line. Line is infinite straight line of linear charge density lambda. Infinite lines means line's length is very much larger than the point where we have to calculate the intensity. Linear charge density means charge per unit length distributions. That means that charge is uniformly distributed over its length. Let you see, this is the given line, that is AB. It is an infinite line and point P is desired point. That means this distance is very small with comparison to this line. This is known as infinite line. So here it is positively charged infinite line of a linear charge density lambda. Lambda means charge per unit length is lambda. Per unit length of this line, the amount of charge is lambda. Now the chosen point is P, which is the distance r from this linear distribution of charge where we are interested to calculate the electric field intensity. Now you see, first you will use the Gauss theorem. How will you use the Gauss theorem? First you choose a Gaussian surface which is suitable for you. Then you will calculate the intensity. Here the comfortable Gaussian surface is cylindrical and line charge distribution should be in axis. That means from this distance to this distance is same as from this distance to this distance. That means our Gaussian surface shape is cylindrical and the problem that is given the distribution of line charge that should lie on the axis of the Gaussian surface. This is our symmetric Gaussian surface and shape is spherical in shape. Now you see, I have chosen this type of a cylinder. This is the distance r from which we have to calculate the intensity. This is the length of the cylinder. When we will use the Gauss theorem, our formula is we have to calculate the closed surface integral of electric field intensity is equal to q in by epsilon 0. Then you see the figure. In your Gaussian surface, how much charge is kept inside the Gaussian surface? Question is given to infinite line, but in your Gaussian surface, the charge amount is distributed among this line. This line is L because your Gaussian surface cylinder length is L and radius is R. So your length of the cylinder is L means the total amount of charge present in the Gaussian surface in this region. So in this region means per unit length charge is lambda. From this point to this point line length is L. So Q inside, that means charge amount present inside your chosen Gaussian cylinder is lambda into L. Per unit length charge is lambda and your given length is L. So your total amount of charge present in this Gaussian surface is lambda L. First you calculate this one. Again I want to tell you what is the curved surface of the cylinder. it is needed for your derivation. Before going to derivation, first you calculate what is the curved surface area of the cylinder. Curved surface area of the cylinder means 2 pi r into L. So it should be remember the curved surface area of the cylinder is 2 pi r L into L. Here you see the diagram. Here cylinder has three surface. Upper surface is plane, that is S2. Lower surface is plane, that is S3, and the curved surface name is S1. Now our chosen point P is on the surface S1. Before going to derivation, first you choose a small surface element surrounds the point P. This small surface element is ds here, and the area vector is ds vector is outwards. As a positive charge is distributed here, by the definition of intensity, the direction of intensity is towards right. That means here the angle between E vector and ds vector is 0 degree. Whenever the point you choose across this curved surface, here or here, if you choose here, here also ds vector is inward, outwards, and E vector is outwards. Here is also theta is 0. So you can write here theta is equal to 0. Then answer is very simple. Then you go forward with your Gauss theorem that we have taught in your previous classes. The closed surface integral of electric field intensity is equal to q in by epsilon 0, and q in already we have calculated, that is lambda L. For unit length charge is lambda, for L length charge is lambda L. Now you see this figure, this total closed surface is divided into three parts: surface S1, surface S2, and surface S3. So you see the mathematical expression, the total integration is divided into three parts. One is for surface S1, one is for surface S2, and another one is for surface S3. Here you see at the surface S1, theta must be 0. If you will choose the point P here, so ds vector will be outward here, and the intensity vector is here. So angle should be 90 degree. So for surface S2, theta will be 90 degree. Similarly for surface S3, surface should be here, surface vector should be here, and intensity vector is here. So here is also 90 degree. For surface S2 and for surface S1, the angle is 90 degree. You see the mathematical expression for surface S2 and surface S3. S2 is upper plane surface and S3 is lower plane surface. Theta is 90 degree. And for curved surface, theta is equal to 0. As theta is 90 degree, dot product will be 0. So this part integration vanishes out. Only this part is remains. E dot ds, only we have to integrate the curved surface S1, and right hand side is lambda L by epsilon 0. As theta is equal to 0, that vector part is taken out. E ds cos 0 is equal to 1. That's why it is written as E ds, and surface S1 is here. Now next part you see integration E taken as a constant outside. Why is constant? You see, we are choosing the Gaussian surface in such a manner. If you will calculate E, distance is r. If you will calculate here E, distance is r. If you will calculate he, distance is r. Whenever and where you will put the point P on the curved surface, distance is the same. So magnitude of E is constant everywhere. That's why in this integration we have taken outside, that E remains constant. So E is taken outside. Then we have to calculate the total surface area of the curved surface S1. If you will integrate the ds, then we have to calculate the total curved surface area of surface S1. Surface S1 is your curved surface area. So its value is 2 pi r into L. Here L and L is cancelled out. And total intensity you see lambda divided by 2 pi epsilon 0 r. That means E is the function of r, E proportional to 1 by r. If you will plot the graph E versus r, if you will increase the distance r, then the value of E decreases and the nature of the graph is hyperbolic. This is the answer of electric field intensity of a linear charge distribution of infinite straight line. And only we have to start from the Gauss theorem Then you will the curved surface is divided into three parts. Two parts integration is 0. Only curved surface part is here. Theta is equal to 0. E is constant taken outside, and total surface area of a curved surface is 2 pi r l, and here lambda l, that is q in. So answer is E is equal to lambda 2 pi epsilon 0 r. So main derivation, main part is how will you select the Gaussian surface and the systematic diagram. This is very important. So next we will proceed for next application, and you see what the heading gives here. Here we have to calculate electric field intensity due to infinite thin plane conducting sheet. So mean what's infinite means sheet is very large, thin means very thin. Very thin means it's like paper sheet. You see, it's like a paper sheet, very thin plane. Plane means you know surface is plane, and a conducting sheet. Conducting sheet means charge is distributed on its surface. As it is very thin, we can choose it is only one surface. If it is thick, then we will choose upper surface and lower surface. And surface charge density is sigma. Surface charge density means charge per unit area. First to draw the diagram, you see this is a very thin sheet, very thin. Even if it is very thin with comparison to a thin paper sheet. And this is a KLMN, it is a very infinite large plane sheet, and surface charge density is sigma. We have taken positive charge is distributed over the surface. P the desired point where we have to calculate the intensity, and this point P is a distance r from the sheet. As like in the previous problem, P was the distance r from the line charge. Here also P the distance r from the thin sheet. Here are the chosen Gaussian surface is a cylinder, and that must you see the chosen Gaussian surface is cylindrical and it should touch the point P. As like a cylinder is inserted in the thin sheet, you feel your Gaussian surface is just entering in the sheet in such a manner. The here length is r and here length is r. That means it is symmetrically adjustment. That means sheet is at its center. So the chosen Gaussian surface is a cylinder of length is 2r. Here is r, here is r. Let its base area is A. Let its base area is A. That means this area is A and this area is also A. Base area is A and length is 2r. Now the chosen point P is here. For derivation, we have taken a small surface element ds. Area vector is perpendicular to the surface, so ds vector is towards right. As it is positively charged, intensity is also towards diverging or right. Here the E vector and ds vector, angle theta is 0. Here also there are three surfaces S1, S2 and S3. Before going to derivation, let us see. If S1 angle between E vector and ds vector theta is equal to 0. If you will take for S3, then you have to choose ds vector here and the intensity vector is here. So theta is 90 degree. For surface S3, theta is 90 degree. For this surface, what will happen? Surface element is here, surface vector is here towards left. As it is positive charge, it will diverge. It also here. So here also theta is equal to 0 degree. Then before going to derivation, first we have to calculate what amount of charge is present inside the Gaussian surface. You see, your question is infinite sheet, but in your Gaussian surface, infinite sheet is not in there. Only this amount of sheet is there, looking like a circular sheet, and its area is A because we have chosen the cylinder base area is A. So how many charge resides here? For unit area, charge reside is sigma. For A area, charge will be reside as sigma into A. Previously I have told that as it is thin surface, so it is taken as a only one surface and it is sigma A. If it is a thick sheet, then will be considered as this side surface and upper side and lower side surface. So that will be 2 sigma A. But here thin sheet, the Q in will be sigma A. Now we will proceed for derivation. This is the mathematical formula of Gauss law. Closed integration E vector dot ds vector is equal to q in by epsilon 0. We have already calculated q in is here sigma a by epsilon 0. As like in the previous problem, here also three surface. This integration is split into three parts. One is S1, one is S2, one is S3. Here we have discussed for S3 surface theta is 90 degree. So this integration is 0. Only this one and this one surface will be integrated out. Here S1 theta is equal to 0, here S2 theta is equal to 0. As theta is equal to 0, dot product is taken out, only E and ds, no vector sign. E ds cos 0, here E ds cos 0, sigma a by epsilon 0. Again also, as this is the distance r, for all the points intensity E remains same. Here also distance r, at all the point intensity remains same. So for surface S2 and S1, E remains constant. That's why E is taken as a constant outside. E is constant. And E is taken outside. For the surface S1, if you will integrate, amount will be A. For surface S2, if you will integrate, the amount will be A. This base area, we have taken it as A. So here is A, here is A. And the right side, we have calculated sigma A by epsilon 0. You see 2EA is equal to sigma A by epsilon 0. So if you will calculate, then E is equal to sigma by 2 epsilon 0. Then what happens if you plot the graph? Here you see there is no value of R here. That means intensity is independent of R. That means if you will point P is near to the seat, the amount will be same if the point is taken outside, but larger from the seat. That means E is independent of R. That means E proportional to R to the power 0. As it is independent of R, if you will plot the graph intensity versus R, graph will be straight line parallel to x-axis. This is the special case of electric field. Only this example, intensity is independent of position of the desired point. In every cases for point charge, for dipole, for linear charge, we have discussed that with increasing distance, intensity decreases. But here only, intensity does not change if we increase the distance from the seat. That means in this case, it will create an uniform electric field. You should remember, it is an example that is thin charged conducting sheet creates an uniform electric field. If in your exam question comes infinite thick sheet, instead of a thin sheet, you see this is thick sheet. Diagram is looking like a book. In previous problem, the diagram is looking like a thin sheet. Here is a diagram is looking like a book. This is a thick sheet. Same derivation, sigma is here, same Gaussian surface, same surface. Only calculation is that it is a thick. Here it is a very thin sheet. This is a very thin sheet. Where in first case, inside the Gaussian surface for thin sheet, only this is a circular plate, very thin plate, as like a bindi. But here, it is a thick like sheet. This is as like a pellet, as like medicine sample, as like tablet. This is looking like a pellet. That means outer surface and inner surface, both the surface are exist, and each surface charge resides on the surface. In each surface, the charge will be sigma A. As two surfaces there, so Q inside is equal to 2 sigma A. In thin sheet, the Q in is sigma A, but in thick sheet, only 2 sigma A. Same derivation, S1 is theta 0, S2 is theta 0, S3 theta will be 90 degree. Integration is split into three parts. S3 integration is a 90 degree, as it is 0. Only this thing is changed, 2 sigma A. You see similar derivation, EDS, E taken as a constant outside. As surface S1 and surface S2 value is A and A, EA. But here 2 sigma A by epsilon 0. So answer is E sigma by epsilon 0. But for thin sheet, it was sigma by 2 epsilon 0. That means for thick sheet, more intensity, that means double. In thin sheet, answer is sigma by 2 epsilon 0, but in thick sheet, that is sigma by epsilon 0. If in a problem it was not mentioned thick sheet or thin sheet, you taken as thin sheet, that is sigma by 2 epsilon 0. Here also answer is independent of R, so we can say that here also uniform electric field. So three applications For linear charge distribution and surface charge distribution, you should remember these steps and you have to practice the derivations part for your exam. Then finally we have to discuss so many derivations we have done. Now our aim is how to remember all these formula with graphs and formula with units. First, before going to the formula related to the electric field intensity, just you recall the previous formula. This is the definition of intensity. E is equal to F by Q. It was from the definition of electric field intensity, that Coulomb's force acting per unit test charge at that point. This is another formula of electric field intensity that we have not discussed till now. This will be discussed in later classes. This is known as electric field intensity is equal to negative of electric potential gradient. As in your gravitation chapter, you are also read that gravitational field intensity is equal to negative of gravitational potential gradient. Here also electric field intensity is also can be expressed as the negative of electric potential gradient. And this is the third formula that discussed here now. This is the Gauss theorem. Closed integration of E vector dot ds vector is equal to Q in by epsilon. All these formula are applicable to every distribution of charge or every situation. Now the special cases what we have read, just we refresh our memory bottom. You just see, this is the point charge for plus Q, this is the point P, this is the distance R, direction of intensity is right as it is positive charge. Intensity formula in SI system is 1 by 4 pi epsilon 0 Q by R square, and here you see E proportional to 1 by R square, that means E proportional R to the power minus 2. So your graph nature will be hyperbolic. With increasing distance the variation of E decreases in a curved line, not in a straight line. So you should remember the formula and the graph. While solving the problem, the intensity unit should be Newton per Coulomb or volt per meter. Newton per Coulomb is obtained from the formula F by Q, and volt per meter formula unit is obtained from the formula intensity is equal to potential gradient. Now this is the ideal electric dipole. This is an example of a discrete charge particle system. There are two charges, minus Q and plus Q. This is the center of dipole. This is the dipole moment starting from negative charge to positive charge along the axis. This is the desired point M here, where the electric field intensity is here. This is the position vector and this is the dipole moment. Angle is theta, and here E vector makes an angle beta with the position vector R. And its formula should be E is equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon 0 P by R Q 3 cos square theta plus 1 root over. It is written in SI system. For calculation of direction, this beta you should remember tan inverse 0.5 tan theta. This was discussed in previous classes. And from these two formula can be derived for axial and equatorial. For axial, answer is 1 by 4 pi epsilon 0 2 P by R Q. For equatorial position, answer is 1 by 4 pi epsilon 0 P by R Q. For both all this formula, E proportional 1 by R Q. You always remember the dependence of R in each problem is different. For point charge, that is 1 by R square. For ideal electric dipole, that is 1 by R Q. Then graph will be like this, hyperbolic in nature, E proportional R to the power minus 3. Then our next problem was the infinite straight line of a linear charge density lambda. If the desired point P here from distance R from this line, intensity direction is right as it is a positive charge, and its formula we have discussed today from Gauss theorem, that is lambda divided by 2 pi epsilon 0 R. Here also E proportional to 1 by R. With increasing distance, intensity decreases, and the variation of intensity with respect to R will be like this. If it is taken as a power of R, 1 by R means power of R will be minus 1. Then there are two problems for thin sheet and thick sheet. This is the case of thin sheet and this is the case of thick sheet. For thin sheet, answer is sigma by 2 epsilon 0. For thick sheet, the answer is sigma epsilon 0. For both the cases, intensity is independent of R. That means both the cases field is uniform, and graph nature is a straight line parallel to x-axis for both the cases. Now another problem for you that we have not derived, but we can remember from Gauss theorem this formula is derived. Then first see what is the example given for you. This is a charged hollow sphere. Hollow sphere means inside is nothing, no charge resides. Or you may call charged spherical cell. Or you may call solid conducting sphere. Now you may be asked, sir, hollow sphere, solid sphere is same. Now here it is equivalent. That means for solid conducting sphere, you have already know the property of charge. Charge always resides on the surface of the conductor. Charge as resides on the surface of the conductor, that means there is no charge for the solid conducting sphere. That means it is equivalent to hollow charged sphere or spherical cell. That's why it is same case. For hollow charged spherical cell or whatever may be hollow charged sphere or solid conducting sphere. Solid conducting sphere. If it is a solid insulating sphere, we cannot assume that it is a hollow sphere. For solid conducting sphere, we can assume it as a hollow sphere because there is no charge reside inside the sphere. You see the diagram, this is a hollow charged sphere or hollow conducting solid sphere. P the point, as it is positive charge, direction of intensity is diverging. Small r is variable here, capital R is radius of the sphere, it is a constant. If small point P is outside, small r greater than r. If P is on the surface, then small r is equal to r. If small p less than r, then small r will be small r is less than r, then it will be inside. There are three formulas for inside, surface and outside. You just remember this formula are derived from the Gauss theorem. Now you just remember, in exam some questions and graphs are coming, so you just remember r less than r, that means inside the solid sphere or hollow spherical sphere, no intensity is there. Here or here, whatever may be, there is no intensity inside the sphere. On the surface, what amount? 4 pi epsilon 0 q by r square, that is constant. But if you go outside, then small r is variable here. You see the answer, 1 by 4 pi epsilon 0 q by r square. So it is a dependence of r. So E proportional to 1 by r square. How can you remember this graph? Up to r, intensity is 0, because you have written intensity inside is 0. So graph will be along the x-axis. When it touches the r, then will graph to shift to upward. That means this is a discontinuous graph. And this reading is 1 by 4 pi epsilon 0 q by r square. Then outside the sphere, it depends upon 1 by r square. So it is decreases in curved manner. So this is the graph, you must remember, this is for hollow charged spherical cell. Now this last example for you, this is a solid insulated charged sphere. That means it is a sphere of wood. Previous case, that is the sphere of iron. As it is insulated, charge will be resides inside and on the surface. So there is no empty, charge is inside here. So formula is different. But you see on the surface and outside, answer is same as like in the previous cases. 1 by 4 pi epsilon 0 q by r square, 1 by 4 pi epsilon 0 q by small r square. You just see for hollow spherical sphere, same. On the surface and outside, same. Only inside is 0 there, but here only inside formula is different. 1 by 4 pi epsilon 0 q by rq into r. Variable is r. So E proportional to r. So this formula are derived from the Gauss theorem. We have not discussed, just we have to remember this formula and the graph. You see on the surface, as like previous cases, 1 by 4 pi epsilon 0 q by r square. From outside the sphere, its dependence is 1 by r square. So graph will be like this. Then we will come to inside. Inside, if r is equal to 0, r is equal to 0 means center. Then inside at the center, it will be answer will be 0. So graph starts from 0. As it is proportional to r, so graph increases with increasing value of r and straight line. This formula is similar in case of your gravitation chapter, that is gravitational field intensity or acceleration due to gravity. At the center it was 0. On the surface it is maximum, and we will go outside from the surface of the earth, that is increases. Just to remember, on the surface acceleration due to gravity was maximum. If you will increase with increasing altitude, then intensity decreases. If you will go to depth, will center it will also decreases. On the surface maximum. Here also on the surface intensity is maximum. If you will go inside it decreases. If you will go outside it is decreases. At the center it is 0. And inside graph is linear in nature and outside graph is non-linear in nature. This is due to dependence of E proportional R in inside and E proportional to 1 by R square is outside. So all these graphs, all these formula you should keep in your memory, and the derivation how using Gauss theorem we are calculating the electric field intensity due to infinite plane sheet and thick sheet and infinite straight line. These are the formula you have to remember, and also you have to practice all these derivations. Thank you all. In next class we will do some numericals of electrostatics too. Thank you all.